again, and this time, in case we do have any more unforeseen crashes, I have done a hard save. So now I've got Atom to tank, and I should probably set Mira onto range, so I've got her as my big DPS. Let's see if we can... Let's take two, guys. Take two.
I'm good to go.
More where that came from.
That's one taking out the wrong at range, Mira. In fact, I should probably switch to Mira to do the healing.
I hear you.
Save again. You still with me, Tyron? Probably not.
More where that came from. More where that came from. Time to even the odds.
Like that? That's a little one for me.
Let's settle. More where that. More where that. Time to even the odds. Time to kick you down to size. More where that came from. More where that came from.
Let's move out.
Save again.
Let's see what you got. That's a little one for
save again, because this part with the Zhug brothers is going to be the most difficult part. This part and the part when we get back to the concourse.
More where that came from. More where that came from. More where that came from. More where that came from.
Beat retreat real quick.
Ready?
Switch to Mira to heal.
I hear you. More where that came from. More where that came from. Let's settle this. More where that came from. More where that came from. Let's settle this. More where that came from.
Nicely done, people.
More where that came from. More where that came from.
That's another one for me.
More where that came from. Time to take you down to size.
That's another one for me.
More where that came
That's another one
from.
for me. Let's move out.
I hear you. More where that came from. More where that came from.
Ready?
I'm
Just
going to
say the
save
word.
that level up for when we need it.
More where that came from. 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 Everyone down.
Saving that level up for your Jedi stuff.
I hear you.
I'm good to go.
I hear you.
Okay, so there's a fight coming up. Which step? Yeah, there it is.
More where that came from. More where that came from. More where that came from.
Like that?
Just gonna double check the audio is working correctly. Check. Make sure this is working properly. I think it is. It is.
More where that came from. 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 More where that came from.
Ninja. Entity and shop.
Pure Pazak.
That's right, Iron. Anyway, Mira. Should we get some better gun upgrades? There you go. You go this way, we need to go talk to TN Tub. Damn it, this is where I needed Tyron, I needed his suggestion.
Geraktada cemense bengaruruku todo und juju amataso benkisha manensitse. Fela dibono ta monikranaktada. Der inter
Tyron, if you're there, I need you. I need your opinion on who I should take to Goto's yacht.
Terewana jun konata della raguno tunna. Dai rinto run kawre kare papanala ranshinga. Derace wemeno toto rere senesenten. Dosane gravalantro kwe wapa teratana chingaradana. Terewana jun konata della raguno tunna. Dai rinto run kawre kare papanala ranshinga. Derace wemeno toto rere senesenten.
First person I'll send is Kreia, that's the easy one. Who should I send as the second one, Tyron? Because my gut instinct is Visas, but who would you recommend? Yeah, I would send Handmaiden as well if she was leveled up, but I haven't had a chance to go Jedi her up yet because of leveling, so Handmaiden's out. Mira's out because I want to try and save her next level up for when I train her to be a Jedi as well at the end of this. Bader's out because I mean Bader might be a useful pick for his skills, but it's between Bader and Visas really, in my opinion. That's the second one to send. Pros and cons of both of them is Bader's got crap ton of skills that'll be very useful on the art. Downside is he doesn't really have much. He's not really that good at fighting. Visas is excellent at fighting and excellent with force powers, but hasn't really got many skills. You know what? I think I'll bring Bader because all the enemies there are droids, right? Up until I get the XL, Kreia should be able to blast a caster or anything in their path, and she has a crap ton of force power, so she can probably keep Bader up as well. And then I don't have to worry about the skill differential when I don't have the XL, because Bader can easily cover that. See, I'll send Bader. He has really. He really has.
Taranamo sibu indasarans, krema sunkun ratungala, chawi mo jubu inkosoracha. Moka kamaran endoso ran we no chabi. Du rantamana sobu. Taranamo sibu indasarans, krema sunkun ratungala, chawi mo jubu inkosoracha. Moka kamaran endoso ran we no chabi. Du rantamana sobu.
I was expecting someone taller. I hope you are not in too much pain to hear my words and understand them. I am Goto, one of the officials representing a percentage of non-sanctioned trading here in both the YouTube system and Republic space. And I had a question for you. Are you a Jedi?
Goto, I have a serious question for you first before I answer that. If you are in control of the YouTube system, where's the free use? Where's the free use? Come on. No, I have no ties to the Jedi Order.
Indeed. That is unfortunate. Still, perhaps you have some value. I have gone to considerable expense and effort to bring you here. It is because I have a job for you.
You have a strange way of asking my help.
Yes, but I am not in the habit of asking for things. And you were so difficult to find, even after that small incident on Paragus. There is something important to me I need protected. The Republic. It is broken. What happened on Paragus has set in motion events that I can no longer control. Not to be melodramatic, but I fear it has broken the galaxy irrevocably. This has occupied much of my attention, and there seems to be no predictable way to resolve the situation.
You chased me all over the galaxy to ask me to save it?
In one standard month, the Republic will collapse. Not due to war or secession, but because it lacks the infrastructure to support itself. It is unknown to all but a few, but the Sith won the Jedi Civil War. Even with their supposed victory, the war left the Republic on the brink of collapse. Rather than remain and help solidify the Republic, however, Revan chose to leave known space. A frustrating turn of events, as a rallying figurehead could have done much to restore order.
I still don't understand why you brought me here.
There is something moving in the galaxy that lies beyond the ability of my instruments to detect or predict. I believe it to be a legacy of the Sith, but I have been unable to determine the source. Whatever this presence is, it is staging strikes at key figures throughout the Republic, and through some unknown means, it is causing the destruction of worlds. Qatar, Amiraluka world in the Mid-Rim was one such place. I have reason to suspect there was a gathering of Jedi on that world when it was rendered lifeless. I cannot find any pattern in these attacks, and it is a source of frustration to me. There is some clue, however, that perhaps the Jedi are linked to these attacks, or that the targets are significant in some way I have yet to discover.
I'll do what I can. I don't want to see the Jedi wiped out.
You misunderstand me. I do not wish to stop the Sith any more than I wish to stop the Jedi. It is simply important to me that the infighting amongst these Jedi religious branches be resolved so the galaxy may be put back together. I do not care which one triumphs. I only want the universe to settle down for a while, catch its breath. All these constant crises are getting somewhat repetitive.
Why do you care about the Republic?
You could say I am something of a patriot. Although I was unable to serve during the troubles with the Mandalorians or against the aggressors known as Malak and Revan, I am able and willing to serve now. The problem is I can find no side to choose. Both are hidden from me as they seem to be hiding from each other. Irritating. It is like a Dejaric board where neither player can see the other, nor see all the pieces. It is not a fair game, an equitable game.
Then maybe you should try Berserk.
Berserk bores me. I often suspect my opponent of cheating. I prefer predictable games, such as Galactic Economics.
I'll do what I can to help. It was my intention in the first place.
Excellent. It really is in your best interests, you know. There is no margin for error when I say that these Sith seek to murder you and all Jedi everywhere. They have been quite efficient. And when they dispose of you, there will be nothing left to stop them, and the galaxy will fall under their influence.
Then I have no problem helping if you set me free.
Ah, well, there is where we are at cross purposes. I cannot set you free. You have a tendency to cause dangerous repercussions wherever you go, and I would rather keep those to a minimum. The galaxy really is a fragile place right now. I am a businessman. The Republic needs stability to survive, prosper, and grow. Whether it is led by the Sith or supported by the Jedi is of no consequence to me.
Maybe you should pay attention to the troubles on your own ship.
It is the proximity alarm. We are under attack. Somehow your allies have found you. Unexpected. You will remain here under guard. I must see to the defense of my ship.
So,
Announcement. We seek to make Goto aware of our services, allowing us to facilitate communication and terminate hostilities in the galaxy. If that means blowing up planets, slaughtering entire species, or allying ourselves with the Sith, then that is the logical choice. Our predecessor would never understand our directives. He was slow, weak, and his vocabulary was prone to static.
So, before I get this fight started, I'll save. And then my question to you, Tyron, is this whole plan of Goto's smart or stupid?
I hear you.
Ratio achieved.
I hear you.
Optimal accuracy ratio achieved. Optimal accuracy ratio achieved. Systems failing, Master.
I will silence this
Failing,
one.
Master.
It is very, very broken. Bypass security. Download program overload.
Fallen.
Well,
What is it?
One.
What's going on?
he did. Got restricted systems, program library.
Poison.
You can enter the count, Tyrant, so 110. What is the count? Seriously, Tyrant, what is the count? Hey! Let's go screw with the turrets, my favorite thing to do. Egg pack scum. Real quick.
I hear you.
That's it, Freya.
Yes. This shall not stop us for long.
I think we're good. I think we're good.
What's going on?
Before I continue exploring, I better get the exile.
Morgan. The other's over with.
I will silence this one.
And now I've got the exile. Everything should be smooth sailing from here.
Yeah?
Everyone up. No bounty hunters yet, Tyron, because I haven't reached the bridge yet. The bounty hunters, I'm pretty sure, don't come in until after I've secured the bridge. Including the suns. I think this is your streams influencing me here, Tyron, but it's kind of weird looking at this cell and not seeing Canos in it. Yeah, you mean it. I've got a lightsaber to upgrade.
Let's go.
Silence this one. I will silence this one.
They have gotten farther than I calculated. They are very resourceful. But they shall go no farther. Deploy the guard droids. Raise the force fields. We will trap them within the ship. Activate the mines. Let us see how far they get now.
Beta.
Let's go. What's going on?
Well done, Mitra.
This won't take long. You, let's go.
Right here, I believe. I can, Tyrant, and that is what I'll be using as my one of the final things I do in this stream. I will be training both Handmaiden and Mirror before I finish off tonight.
Looks like someone's been busy. This is a droid control center, but on a huge scale. It could control thousands of droids on Nar Shaddaa and elsewhere.
I suggest you surrender. Your chances for escaping this vessel are near zero, and your chances of survival are rapidly approaching that number. Your ship and your lives are mine. The only question is how much resources you want me to expend in subduing you.
Basically, Tyrant, by the time I'm done tonight, the only person I'll have left to train this disciple, and I haven't got him in the party yet. Yeah, he is. Come to me, my droids. Oh, one of you survived. Three of the droids survived the frigging mines. That's impressive. It's a shame that you get a droid access code right when all the droids are already dead. Power distribution. Shut down.
More visitors. I don't know how many more of these pests I can disintegrate. Ah, what remains of the bounty hunters have found me. Now it is time to cue the detonation sequence.
Like I said, this is when the bounty hunters come in.
Wanarakorachi drumta sa inchobin sasha. Dosimana rachata.
You're welcome to try, big eyes.
Taranamo sibu indasarans. Krema sunkun ratungala. Chawi mo jubu inkosoracha.
This shall not stop us for long.
Mechana creve mopa. Tamasuna ramga ma chojane. Antas cream sochi. Norcha hereme chok windido.
simple matter of getting off the ship now. Or should I just go and wipe out all the bounties before I leave as well?
Let me handle this.
I mean, it may as well for the XP. Yeah, for the XP. I'll go wipe them all out.
You asked for it. Let me handle this. You asked for it.
And we are done. All that's left to do is talk to Zez-Kyle, wrap up a couple of side quests we've got left, train Handmaiden and Mira, and we're done for today.
I can't believe we just blew up Goto's yacht. That's gonna destabilize crime throughout this whole sector.
Yeah, well, you'll understand if I hold back the tears.
You don't understand. Crime in the YouTube system, it's like the economy. Plus the power vacuum. Even if Voga gets up and running again, the system is going to be feeling the effects for years to come.
Yeah, well, at least we didn't find that Jedi Master with the weird name. Zez, Kai, whatever it is.
Zez-Kyle? Well, that's not true. I already found him. Actually, he found me first. He hired me to watch out for you, keep Goto off your back until he could meet with you. We'll need to head back to Nar Shaddaa, to that safe house off the docks. I said I'd meet up with him there if we ran into any trouble. What do you want now?
If you thought to escape my notice so easily, you would be wrong. As a token of my goodwill, I present to you a gift, this droid. It will serve you well on your journey.
Why would I want this droid?
As I indicated, this unit will remain with you and guard you. It will also serve as an effective voice for my orders during your journey.
How do I know it won't try and kill me?
I cannot harm you. You are the key to saving the Republic. Pray that you do not prove yourself otherwise.
Thanks for the droid, Goto. Let's get to Nar Shaddaa.
So, you have returned from exile. Kavar thought you might, if only to wander your old battlegrounds. But I did not think you would come to Nar Shaddaa. Still, you were always a difficult one to read, both when you were tied to the Force, and even more when it was lost to you.
Why did Kavar think I would return from exile?
I do not know. It was a sense he had, and he had served in war as you had. Perhaps he thought he understood you, or maybe he simply hoped he did.
Because
He
he's our
felt
master.
You were the key to understanding the threat we face. The others were not so certain, but so many of them are gone now, as you no doubt know.
Why me?
He sensed some connection between you and many of the worlds touched by war. He thought by traveling to such places, he could achieve understanding.
I have questions I want answered.
No doubt. I think the answers will provide us both with some measure of peace. I have kept secrets for far too long.
Where are all the Jedi?
They have scattered, but there is purpose in their movements. It is both to hunt and draw out our enemies. Somehow, We, are being targeted through the Force, and when Jedi gather, we are vulnerable. So we have chosen places where it is difficult to sense others through the Force, whether on planets dense with life or touched by war. In such places, we may conceal ourselves, gather information without presenting ourselves as targets. It was part of Kavar's plan.
Plan?
Yes, he felt if our enemy cannot detect us, then perhaps they would believe themselves victorious and show themselves. And we knew that the war would be lost if we continued to act as we had. I do not know where they wander now. There are few of us, though. Too few, and I have not heard from them in some time.
Atris is on Telos.
Atris? But I had thought she had gone to Qatar with the others.
Sound surprised.
Yes, she holds the last of the Jedi teachings. It is good she survived.
I had other questions.
What I can tell you, I will.
What happened to him?
It is a long story, but there is no harm in you knowing. And someone should know. Only a handful of us remained after the Jedi Civil War, barely 100 in number. Then, even that 100 began to vanish, in places where the Force seemed blind. The only pattern we determined is that when Jedi gathered, they were seen no more. At the last Jedi conclave on the Miraluka world of Qatar, the entire planet was wiped out, an entire race destroyed, because the Jedi chose to gather there. It was only then that we realized we were facing something far more powerful than we knew how to fight.
Is that why you hid?
We could not allow the fact that when we gathered, we placed everything around us at risk. A Jedi's life is sacrifice, but we cannot allow our presence or actions to endanger others. And we could not fight an enemy that will not reveal itself. But any Jedi, anyone who was strong in the Force, who attempted to track down such a threat, vanished without a trace.
But that makes no sense.
It does, but you must step back to see it. Whatever this threat was, it was targeting us and everything around us. Yet it was somehow weak enough that it was afraid to confront us openly. If it believed us defeated, then perhaps it would finally show itself. It was a faint hope, but it was the best we had. It was Kavar's plan. He was always the greatest tactician among us, and had seen war more than the rest of us.
I had other questions.
Very well.
I need to know why you cast me out the order.
We told you it was because you followed Revan to war, but you ask because you are not certain of that answer. Nor were we. The day we cast you out, that is the moment I decided to leave the order, because I do not believe we truly faced the reasons you were exiled, and if we do not examine such truths, then we are already lost. I think it was because we were afraid. It is a difficult thing to live one's life with the Force. To see a vision of what it would be like to be severed from it, it is more frightening than you know.
I had other questions.
Very well.
Why are you on Nar Shaddaa?
I had thought perhaps that here upon the Smuggler's Moon, I might find some evidence of the threat we faced. The bounties on Jedi and their disappearance. I did not believe the two were connected, but there was a chance. And the strong currents of life here on Nar Shaddaa make perceiving a Force user difficult. I could use it to cloak my movements and watch without being discovered.
That is not the only reason. You came here to hide.
No, you are right. That is not the whole truth. It is difficult to detect a Force user on Nar Shaddaa, and I knew it. This threat we face, it leaves wounds in the Force when it strikes. It leaves nothing.
And you were afraid.
To live life without the Force, to vanish and die and leave only an echo, it was terrifying. To be connected to all life around you, then to have it stripped, I can only imagine what it must have been like for you. But even that imagining cannot compare with the truth. But there is more than that. On Nar Shaddaa, one cannot escape what was left from the Jedi Civil War. From the failure of the Masters, from our failure to properly train Jedi, came disaster. And I wondered if perhaps the teachings of the Jedi had been our failing all along. There have been so many failures, by teachers who believed in the code with all their being. Master Arca failed Ulik, as Master Boss failed Exar Kun, as Kay and Zar and the others of the Council failed Revan and Malak. For all the acts we do to preserve the galaxy, from such an arrogance that all we do is right and just, I wonder if there is a counter-effect that is created that strikes back at us. Exar Kun, Ulik Keldroma, Malak, Revan, you, all Jedi. There is something wrong in the Force, a wound, a sound that is growing, like a scream. You can hear it echo in Nar Shaddaa, sometimes when the moon is on orbit. It is a frightening thing to feel, that perhaps being connected to all life is not enlightenment at all, but simply another doom. And I think that maybe, perhaps, to forsake the Force as you did, to cut loose our bonds, may not be the wrong thing to do. You taught me something important in the Council Chamber long ago, Exile, and it has stayed with me all these years. You were right to do what you did, everything you did.
Holy crap. It's such a shame that you die at the end of the game, Master Zeskyle, because I am pretty sure that the only reason why Kavar and Zeskyle ultimately turn on you in the end is because Rook is technically the senior member of the three, and Rook is kind of being a domineering presence in that council. Because I get the feeling that while Rook is kind of stubborn in his teachings and won't accept what he did, on reflection over the last 10 years, I am pretty sure both Zeskyle and Kavar have come to understand why Revan, Malak, and the Exile actually went to the Mandalorian Wars. It's not necessarily that they condone it, but they understand, and Zez right there just admits that we were probably right to do everything we did. I have other questions.
Very well.
Why'd you cut me off from the Force?
Is that what you think? We did no such thing, but it is a technique that has been used as punishment in the past, yes. It is a rare sentence, and to my knowledge it has only been done once, at a moment where a Jedi discipline has failed. What caused your loss, I fear, was different. I am not certain I understand it. We did not understand it fully then, and only recently do I feel we may have become enlightened. The other masters may have more knowledge of this, but I do not, and I do not know if they even live. Does it matter? It seems your power has returned. Perhaps the loss was not a loss at all.
I have questions.
Very well.
At the end of my trial, you and the other master said something about something that happened to me. What was it?
Ah, so the records of your trial were found. Good. Sometimes I think this galaxy would be a better place if there were less Jedi secrets. But I have no answer for you, as much as I would like to give one. We vowed never to speak of it, and although I would not keep promises to Jedi, I keep promises I make to others. And Kavar was a friend. If we were gathered as one, then the promise might be revoked. Until then, I can say nothing. Very well.
Do you know anything about Force bonds?
Yes, such bonds are a connection that can be formed at moments of crisis, or in the slow understanding that grows between master and apprentice. It is most common between two beings who are sensitive to the Force. It allows the transmission of feelings, of influence. It was something you were gifted with, as I recall, before your fall. You formed such attachments easier than most, even to those who could feel the Force only faintly. Even Vrook could not ignore it, which is saying something.
Is there any way to remove such a bond?
I do not know. A bond between two living beings is not something easily broken. It is not a choice. It is like breaking a feeling, like turning away from the Force. To break a bond, your feelings would have to change, or one of you would have to die. But even then, the bond wouldn't go away. it would simply be empty. A wound.
That's all I wish to know. What happens now?
Now I must take up the role I was ready to cast aside. This threat has finally revealed itself, and we Jedi will need to stand together. I did not speak fully of what I have felt. Staying on Nar Shaddaa, it is an exile of sorts, one that I have chosen. I, too, lost a Padawan on Malachor, not to the battle, but to the alternative, to the teachings that Revan brought from the unknown regions. And I was not the only Jedi Master to watch a student turn on them.
Fighting the Mandalorian Wars was no betrayal. No, your students, your disciples were taught to protect innocence, even when you were not.
No, they were not to blame, but many of the Order did so. It was a difficult time, a time of strong emotion. Perhaps the Council, perhaps the Order itself, had grown arrogant in their teachings. It is easy to cast blame, but it is perhaps time the Order accepted responsibility for their teachings and their arrogance, and come to recognize that perhaps we are flawed. Not once did I hear one of the Council claim responsibility for Revan, for Exar Kun, for Ulic, for Malak, or for you. Yet, you were the only one who came back from the wars to face our judgment. And rather than attempting to understand why you did what you did, we punished you instead. Our one chance to see where we had gone wrong, and we cast it aside. And now, that decision has come back to us and may carry with it our destruction. Perhaps there is something wrong in us, in our teachings, and though I tried, I could not cause that thought to leave me, so I left the Council. And I was not the only one. That is why many scattered, and why many in the Republic do not trust us, and why we do not trust ourselves. Make no mistake, I am no Jedi. This is the end, you see. After this, there will be nothing, and I think it will be for the best. Do you wish to do battle now? I have nothing more to say.
But Revan redeemed himself. Certainly that must give you some hope.
It provides no comfort at all, for reasons in which I still must keep secret. Suffice to say, redemption was not Revan's choice, and I have never believed those of the Council who attempt to console themselves otherwise for the crime they committed.
The crime of mind rape. Is there anything you can teach me?
But we have spoken enough, I think. And words, I think, dull us both. Let us speak through the Force, through sparring. This form you may have already seen much of during the Mandalorian Wars, but it is fitting to speak using elements of the past, I think. Ataru is the name given to the movements of this form. Though it is aggressive, it is focused, and its best use is in combat against a single opponent. This form is somewhat less useful in deflecting blaster shots. Use it when dealing with opponents in close combat, not against a battalion firing heavy blasters at you. Perhaps exile has been good to you indeed. It has certainly not dulled your instincts, nor the speed at which you learn. I shall go to Dantooine, to the ruins of the Enclave. If you gather the others, I will meet you there. And thank you, Exile. You're returning. It is good that you are back among us.
Time to turn in some things.
Unnecessary observation. Targets acquired. Annoying recitation. Let us proceed to facilitate communications. Recitation. And bring about the termination of hostilities. Systems failing, Master. Systems failing, Master. Systems failing, Master.
I don't think he would, but for some reason he does.
You interrupting me for a reason? I have a lot of work to do, to manage here, right? So, what is it?
Could you do me a favor and start and help me get a family off Telos, huh?
What? Do I look like a passenger ship to you? Ah, all right. You help me, I help you.
The mother's name is Karana. She's in a refugee quad, huh?
Fine, I'll do for you. But don't ask of Fasa again. What else?
True, Tyrant, very true. Level 19.
Ulga kilibut maleanuis.
I do not have to go to here, but rest assured he will trouble you no longer.
Chichiskabula, tapichayubon, yunbula, bograkinun chubagrat wikili joni, wichibola no. Chichiskabula, tapichayubon, yunbula, chopitiman ponjame. Sashange bedwana mulera chupa wanga kuna konticha chona konasa watagrito gchimulira nicho dankanau.
Right. I'll go turn on the Telos fuel thing later. Because like I said, I think all the turnings in terms of talking to the rest of my companions, fixing HK, and turning the Telos side quest can wait till the start of Monday. As I said, all I want to do to finish this stream is train Handmaiden, train Mira, and then I'm going to cut it off. Because it's starting to get, because it's really late.
Unnecessary observation. Targets acquired. Annoying recitation. Let us proceed to facilitate communications. Recitation. And bring about the termination of hostilities.
I have destroyed droid now, so good luck.
Systems failing, Master. Systems failing, Master.
Well, check it again. It can't be anything else. Just check the damn connector. I don't trust the diagnostics any more than I trust you. Because I don't like droids. They break. In the head. Well, whatever you call that thing on your head. Yeah, well, if I'm mean to you, it's because I care.
Why are you here?
Because I told her. Told her everything.
Ah, and now you are free?
Yeah, so no more threats, no more of your requests. You and me, we're done.
Did you ever think I truly held you? You're more of a fool than I thought. What truly held you was you, and let me show you why. I once held the galaxy by the throat, as you once held her by the throat and let her die slowly. And your emotion at that point is what you fear. I wielded power like you cannot imagine. Everything I saw was awash with possibilities, spreading outwards, touching everything else. I saw all of that, all that the Force is. And only when it was ripped from me did I truly see it. And I know what lies buried within you, that you hide with your desperate thoughts, your guilt, your lusts. I can unlock that part of you anytime I wish. It is a simple thing, the human mind. Once it feels something strongly, it becomes etched in the memory, the subconscious. Shall I show you? That part of you that hungered to kill Jedi, that took pleasure from it? Or perhaps you will continue to listen to my counsel, and I shall ignore your pathetic attempts at freedom. Now leave me, murderer. I have nothing further to say to one such as you.
Yeah, may as well do a little roundup.
My life for yours.
Teach you some of the Force forms I learned.
I am prepared both in mind and body for your teachings. I understand now. Such a form will increase my skills and my use to you.
I only taught you to make you stronger, not to serve me.
I do not understand, but the choice is mine whether you permit it or not.
Yes, General?
I want to teach you some of the forms I have learned.
Don't worry, I'm a quick learner. Thank you, General. That might prove useful in the future.
Yeah, sorry, I'll get all the turn-in stuff done now, so I can just focus on Dantooine on Monday.
Yes?
Can you teach me some more fighting moves?
I think you are ready for the final tier I wish to teach. You have made much progress. For this, you may use any melee weapon and any shields you possess, but nothing else. No Jedi saber, and no other items.
Alrighty.
We shall begin this final lesson then. Atris was correct about you. You know war, its motions and currents. There is nothing more I can teach you.
Okay, maybe I can teach you some things.
I have already learned much of your styles and combat. There is no need to know more.
What's the problem?
Combat among the Ichani is a personal thing. Repeated duels are not what they are in other cultures, and I would rather that this not become more than it is. And I have taken an oath to Atris against studying from a Jedi, or anything of the Jedi teachings.
What do you want to learn?
What I desire is of no importance. My father broke his oaths. He shamed us all. I do not wish to follow his path. I swore not to follow his path. If I were to follow a Jedi against Atris's wishes, then I would be betraying her for you.
There's no betrayal in learning, and it is important for me to know that you know the Jedi, that you know who I was, who I am.
This is a difficult thing for me to say, but I ask that you be silent as I tell you this. It is my desire to learn from you what you can teach me of battle. I have already learned much in our duels, but with every battle, I wish to know more of you. Your stance, your movements, I can sense shades of meaning and an echo of something I have yet to experience. Atris said that you were the only Jedi to have survived the Mandalorian Wars, that you had stared into the heart of war and only turned away because you were forced to. I do not believe her. I believe that you made a choice, as my father did, and that is important to me, more than you know. And you are important to me more than you know. I will accept whatever you wish to teach me, though it breaks my oath to Atris.
Have you thought about your heritage?
I have thought about what you have said, of my mother, of my bloodline. There is something I would ask of you.
And so it ends.
I want you to teach me the ways of the Force, to become a Jedi Knight like my mother.
If I were to train you, then I might harm you, and I would not wish that.
Listen to me. I am already committed. There is no one else I would want to train me. I have seen you in battle. I have seen your heart, and you are what I want to be. It is like a hollow place inside me, but when I am with you, the echo dies.
Then I will teach you what I know of the Jedi. If that is that what you want?
That is all I wish. I want to feel what my mother felt for my father, what ran through my mother's veins when she was one with the Force. I wish to hear what my mother heard as she fought the Mandalorians until the moment she died on Malachor 5.
Then know this, you have the makings of a Jedi Guardian within you, and it is time I showed you that path.
I will not let you down, Exile. I will honor you as I honor the face of my mother.
Yay! My third apprentice!
Betrayal. Betrayal.
Betrayal?
Mistress?
She has betrayed me. The last of your sisters has betrayed me. Betrayed us. She is your sister no more. She does not travel with the exile. Instead, she has chosen to walk the path of the Jedi.
Mistress, forgive us, but are you certain? She would not forsake her oath so lightly.
It is the truth, and it is done. Do you doubt me?
No, mistress. It is you who saved the Jedi upon Dantooine, who have collected their knowledge and hid it here to protect it.
But why? How did she fall? It is a sign of the exile's corruption, and perhaps hers as well. She will train her, and she will be flawed.
Betrayal. Machines. Her passion for such things defies me.
Iridonian, if I might have a moment.
What is it, Goto?
I have spent some time in the presence of your remote, and the upgrades you have performed on him are quite adequate. I am impressed with your work, though less so with your remote itself.
What's wrong with my remote?
I find his use of resources, energy spent on frivolous things, to be an unsightly waste. But it is obvious you have some skill, however slight, in the upgrading of machines. I want you to provide me with similar upgrades.
I should be able to do something. I will see what I can do next time I have a free moment.
Can I put some clothes on again? Thank you. honestly don't know, Tyron. I guess it's because I feel like it. As I'm pretty sure the Makai deck room can't be upgraded, that's probably the reason why I don't. Yeah, it can't be upgraded, so what's the point? Right, I'm gonna go do a quick conversation with Quay. I'm gonna quickly talk to Adam and give him some training. I'm gonna quickly rebuild HK. I'm gonna quickly train Mira. I'm gonna go back to Telos and hand in that quest, and then I'm turning in for the day.
You have grown strong in the Force. I can feel its touch upon you. Do not let the higher mysteries blind you to others. Turning away from that which tempts you or causes you fear is not strength. Facing it is. I have seen you display many acts of mercy, charity in our journey. Why?
There's enough suffering in the galaxy. If I can alleviate for one person, then I've made a difference.
Even if it weakens those you help, even if it robs them of the strength needed to grow, you have been chased, hounded since our first meeting, and it has only made you stronger, more capable.
I fail to see how small acts of mercy can be harmful.
Ah, then you have learnt nothing. From such small things, from such critical points, the universe and its masses may be moved. That is why you must be careful in all that you do, and in every choice you make. Aiding them gives you strength by taking on their challenges, but weakens them. If that is your choice, then use their dependency, feed upon it, until you have exhausted them. Then leave them. And I would view the ones you travel with much the same way.
I will never abandon my friends in such a way.
So you may think. But it will be best to strike first. Your allies are allies by circumstance, and they will not hesitate to do the same to you if you continue down your path. Yes, have you come with questions?
Yes, I need some answers.
Then ask, and I will do my best to answer.
I'll just try and answer some of the stuff. Do you know what happened to T3?
Betrayal, and by a machine that I will not abide. Machines. Always did Revan use them to inflict his will on the galaxy, whether in war or in assassination. His passion for such tools, for things dead to the Force, defies me. He would have loved a human droid such as you, dead to the Force, a shell that would carry out his orders. It is no matter. It is a device, and now it is broken. Yes? Ask, and I will...
Do you know Atris still?
Atris herself is not as familiar to me as perhaps she should be. Yet I feel I know her, yes.
What do you mean?
Because Atris's path is one I walked long ago, and it is a chapter of my life that has been read and closed. She has taken the first steps, I think. We shall see. Surely you felt the righteous anger, the spoken judgments, the lack of forgiveness.
You walked her path?
I was a historian once, gathering the relics of the Jedi, learning the ancient mysteries. Always there were more questions. One quickly learns that the Jedi Code does not give all the answers. If you are to truly understand, then you will need the contrast, not adherence to a single idea.
Siren?
That is why Atris and the others blamed me, sentenced me. They believed me responsible for Revan's fall.
The pieces fall into place. You trained Revan?
You have already asked much. I do not wish to speak of this any longer. Ask, and I will answer. Have you never asked yourself how Revan took the Republic and Jedi beneath him, how he made them his? Ah, but to make officers turn on their own people, to bomb innocent worlds, to make pacts, strong influence indeed. And where did these Sith teachings come from? And why did Revan embrace them so strongly? So many questions, yet the answers are few. Oh, did they? No. Revan met no Sith empire, yet he learned their teachings. Many have mistaken the soldiers beneath Revan, the machines that were constructed to be the Sith. They are wrong. The Sith is a belief, and what Revan formed was not an empire, but something else. Yet how he did it is curious. And I suspect the answer to that question is tied to another. How was Revan able to corrupt so many so quickly? Not a one. But we shall see where our journey takes us, I think, and see how many answers we come across, yes? Ask, and I will answer.
Did you know Revan?
I misspoke before. Ask.
Yeah, Aaron Kai is Kreia. The evidence is all there. If the council cast you out, how come Atris and none of the Jedi Masters mentioned you?
Ignorance. And perhaps they do not remember or care. It is of no consequence to me or to them.
You're lying.
Am I? Then perhaps you should know. There are techniques in the Force where one can cloud the memory of others, make their presence so small as to be unnoticed. And on the worlds where we have encountered these Jedi, there is much life and death where sensing such things is difficult. As I said, it is of no consequence to me or to them.
Do you use that technique on me?
No, but if I did, you would never know. So my words only carry as much worth as you believe them to. But perhaps you will understand this, that perhaps it is important to me that you see me and my actions uncloaked. It is important that your judgments, whether be good or bad, stem from seeing me as I truly am.
I still think you're lying to me, and you haven't told me everything.
Then you are learning quickly. Distrust is an effective shield and should be carried always. Ask, and I will answer.
How did you know Revan?
I misspoke. Ask.
Do you know about the Sith pursuing us?
I know of them, yes, and how much like beasts they had become. Combined, united against the Jedi, they command legions of Sith. But above these legions there are 3 who must be stopped. As long as any one of them lives, then we, and all life, are doomed. One bathes in pain, feeds on it for sustenance. The other has ceased being a living being, so consumed by hunger that he has forgotten his own flesh. And the last is a creature of betrayals, for without such things there is no hope.
The one who pays in pain. Scion?
Yes, of pain he has learned much. Of knowledge, of teaching, he knows nothing. Like the others, he was spawned by the horrors of the Mandalorian Wars. He exists solely to spread his pain to all Jedi everywhere.
Technically, wasn't Scion a product of the Great Sith War rather than the Mandalorian Wars? Because I'm pretty sure that there's some lore to state the fact that he fought on Exo Kun's side during the Great Sith War. Is the one consumed by hunger his master? I would know more of him.
He, if he can truly be called a man any longer, is one of the Dark Lords that pursues you. I do not think he knows what you are. Not yet. He spared the Miraluka, and that may have been the last shred of feeling that exists within him. Keep his slave close to you. I suspect there was a reason he spared her, and perhaps a reason that she survived when the rest of her people and the Jedi did not.
I don't care about talking to Goto right now. I've done everything I can with T3. I think I'll talk to Goto and T3 at the start of next session.
Something up? Alright, I'm game. What did you want to show me? Got it. I'll be sure to make use of it.
Diagnostic. HK-47 activated. Running checks through primary systems. Assessment. It appears I have suffered considerable damage and dismemberment. I can feel all the cracks in my motivators. And my central control cluster seems to have taken several repeated blaster shots at close range. How crude.
Any idea what happened to you?
Answer. It seems you would know more than I. My memory centers are experiencing some setbacks. Reflection. Of course, for some reason, that does not alarm me. I suspect I have suffered such repeated memory failures before. Still, the loss of my higher combat and assassination protocols is shameful and degrading.
Are you okay?
Answer. If by okay, you mean the loss of almost all my existing assassination protocols, then no, I am not okay. Furthermore, I seem to have no discretionary control over my vocabulator, causing me to reveal my true function as an assassin droid of unrivaled sophistication.
I think that's just something we should study and then come to a decision on. Why were you in our car storage hold?
Answer. I do not know, Master. It is curious that I was here, although this place does seem familiar. Extrapolation. Perhaps someone was already in the process of rebuilding me. It may be I was needed for some task.
You look like a series of droids that have been attacking me.
Answer. Oh, that is impossible, Master. If I were out to kill you, we would not be speaking. And regardless, I am a unique model. Why, to think that there would be other versions of me would be unacceptable.
Well, there are at least 4 other now defunct versions of you in the galaxy.
Statement. Master, I must inform you that your attempts at humor are wasted on a droid such as I. As I have expressed, I am unique.
Actually, there is a series of XK-50 units sharing your model and function that we have encountered on multiple occasions.
Resignation. Very well, Master. If you persist in your attempts at humor, I shall indulge you. Let me check the ship's records, and we will settle this matter once and for all. Conclusion. You speak the truth. This discovery is also causing me some degree of anger and humiliation.
You alright?
Mockery. Am I all right? Oh, yes, Master. Why, I am fine. Statement. I mean, I've only just been reactivated, only to find that there are substandard duplicates of me running all over the galaxy, corroding my good name. But if they are in fact hunting you, then I look forward to the opportunity to meet these units and educate them in proper assassination protocols. Conclusion. So it seems I need you, for the time being.
You're an assassin droid?
Recitation. Yes, as I said, I am an assassin droid. It is my primary function to burn holes through meat bags that you wish removed from the galaxy. Master, oh, how I hate that term.
What, meatbag?
Answer. No, Master. I said it again.
You ready to serve me, droid?
Answer. Yes, Master. HK-47 is ready to serve.
Oh, hey. Can I ask you something?
Something up?
Your face. You have this glow. I mean, not a real glow, but it's like you're calm. At peace, but it's more than that. You haven't been chewing on spice, have you?
I don't poison my body with spice.
Okay, maybe not spice. Maybe someone just jammed a power coupling up your ion engine and switched it on full.
There's some questions I wanted to ask.
Go ahead and ask.
Were you raised on Nar Shaddaa?
Look, before we get into a game of Guess the Pazak card, pull back on the throttle. I don't know you that well to start sharing our life stories. Shoot.
Why don't you kill your targets?
I've killed people before, but not if I don't have to.
Because all life is connected and Malcolm proved it. You know what loss of family means, even to your targets.
Oh, do I? Is that it? How you could ever possibly hope to understand is beyond me. Jedi don't have family.
I won't be too
I know
far
what
behind
happened
you.
at Malachor 5, and I know the Jedi didn't
I'll
care
catch
about
you on
life
your
there.
stream tomorrow. We did what had to be done, and I carry that decision still.
Get away from me. The next time you come and ask me a question, I swear I'll shoot you in the head and dump you out the airlock. What do you want now?
I wanted to apologize.
Whatever, don't worry about it. It's just a sore subject with me.
Still, I'm sorry you lost your family at Malachor.
Yeah, well, they're dead. That's how that story ends. But not everybody's story has to end with losing their family or their loved ones. And not all the bounty hunting I do is for criminals or killers.
What do you mean?
There's a lot of lost people out there, scattered ever since the Mandalorian Wars. And sometimes it's like you can almost hear them, like an echo, calling out for each other. And maybe, just maybe by finding them, I can start putting the galaxy back together.
All things are connected through the Force. Through such acts of kindness, great things may come.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't even know why I'm telling you this. But you're not getting anything else out of me.
Fair enough.
Alright. Yeah, more or less. I wasn't born there, I just ended up there. Well, the war happened. The first one, against the Mandalorians. I had family right up until the end. It's not really a new story, you hear it all over the galaxy. It's what happens after the wars are over that you don't hear much about. I think so. After Revan crushed the Mandalorians, planets throughout the Republic were flooded with refugees. I was just one of the others. Me? I got passage to Nar Shaddaa. From there, not much you can do, so I became a bounty hunter. I'm good at finding people, so I used it to make credits. Not if you know your target. Usually you get a hollow or rough description, and then you just sort of listen to it, get a feel for him or her, and start walking.
Walking?
This is a little hard to explain, but Nar Shaddaa's got a flow, a life to it. You see all kinds of aliens and life there, and it's got currents.
No, I understand.
You know your target, you can feel them. Know where they're going to go. And sometimes, you know where they're going to be before they do. I'm good at finding people. Because when they're lost or out of place, it's like something's wrong inside them. And that's why I hunt. Go ahead and ask. Hanhar's only a bounty hunter because that's the closest word for what he does. He's not out for credits. It's more vicious than that, and it runs a lot deeper. It's like he's out to make the whole galaxy suffer. Every living thing in it. He wants to break them, ruin them. And when they can't suffer anymore, he wants them dead.
What happened between you and Hanhar?
I didn't kill him once. Biggest mistake ever.
What do you mean?
Do you really want to hear this?
Yes, I'd like to know what happened.
Well, Hanhar and me go way back, in the worst possible way. He's from some forest planet on the Outer Rim where Zerka had set up one of their slaving operations.
Do you know the name of his homeworld?
I don't remember the name. Something with too many K's and Y's. Sounds like you're gargling Ronto spit when you say it.
Do you know what species he is?
No idea. He's just Hanhar. I hope there aren't any more like him. I get the impression he's not a good representative of his people, though. He's the equivalent of a mad calf hound among Rontos. Some of Voga the Hutt's men said Hanhar killed his own tribe, but those two crud thugs lie every time they open their mouths, so who knows?
So he was a slave?
Well, not for long. Once off planet, Hanhar escaped from the Zerka slavers, then killed them all.
Why was he wearing those cuffs?
I don't know. I always thought he just liked using them as weapons.
It's good he broke free. Nothing deserves to be caged.
Well, before you get too proud of him, Hanhar figured Zerka had the right idea. I don't think he understood the concept of slavery before, at least on the scale that Zerka practiced it. But now he did. You ever hear of Dursan 3, or the ID cluster colonies?
Were they all destroyed?
Right. That's because Hanhar happened. He makes what happened to his homeworld look like an exercise in community building. He's not a bounty hunter. He's a slaver. A predator. It's like he's out to enslave or kill every human in the galaxy, like he's trying to settle some huge score or debt. I don't get it, but he's dangerous.
Who did he work with?
Anyone who paid credits. And sometimes, he just hunted humans for sport. The ones who survived, he sold to the exchange, to the huts, to anyone who'd buy bodies. Living or dead. He and Voga used to do big credit transactions. That hut really liked the look of unwrinkled humans for some reason. Didn't make him too popular with the other huts, let me tell you.
So how'd you factor in?
I was prey. And not only did I escape, but I saved his life while doing it. He's been hunting me ever since.
So he wants to capture you?
I don't pretend to understand it, but among his people, they have these codes of honor. But somewhere along the line, Hanhar's got twisted. His people form these things called life debts. If you save the life of one of them, they pledge themselves to you.
That doesn't sound too bad.
Well, with Hanhar, he can't escape that life debt. It's bred into him. But he hates every other living thing in the galaxy, so pledging himself to someone else, especially a human, was unbearable. So when I saved his life, it was the worst thing I could do. It was like slavery all over again. But it was in his head. It was like it pushed him over the edge.
What do you mean?
A life debt to Hanhar is a death sentence. He'll hunt you until you're dead. When I saved his life, it meant he had to kill me. And so he kept chasing me in hopes I would die. I think the fact I showed him mercy after hating humans for so long, that was something he couldn't stand.
What if someone else saved his life? Would he try to kill him?
Probably. But if he had multiple life debts, especially to humans, Hanhar would probably go mad. He was angry before, sure, but He'd be 10 times worse if that happened.
Worse?
Hanhar's tough. Really tough. And when he loses it, it's like nothing can stop him. Seen him shrug off blaster bolts, Bothan stunners, and even survive a freighter crash on Dursan 3. He keeps coming.
Any regrets that he's gone?
Oh, I'm glad he's gone. It's like a weight off my shoulders. I don't have to keep watching my back every minute, wondering when he's gonna show up. And he always did. It's like he always knew where I was.
Any chance he's still alive?
Trust me, if he was still alive, he'd be chasing us even now, waiting to ambush us when we least expect it. And he always shows up at the worst possible time. He was one of the best bounty hunters on Nar Shaddaa. Hanhar never gives up on his prey. Or his life debts. He's a hunter. He's a natural predator.
So how'd you save his life?
You know, it's a long story and I'm kind of tired of talking about it right now. Maybe some other time. It's not much to hear anyway. Shoot. Made it. It's custom for me, which is a good thing, because I wouldn't want anyone using it against me. I can show you how to make rockets, though, if you'd like. All it requires is a good skill with demolitions. Anything else you wanted to know? Alright. I don't really want to get into... Talk. About what? Sure, very easy. That's why I dress like this. When they're looking down to check you out, you can usually smash them on the base of the skull or deliver an uppercut that knocks them flat. It's simple. When you want a man, you jab him with a Bothan stunner, then while he's screaming in pain, slap some stun cuffs on him. Then starve him for 2 or 3 days until he becomes open to suggestion, then double check his bounty and see if he's worth anything.
Sounds like hunting.
Call it what you want. Me? I love my targets. Yeah, something wrong? Go ahead and ask. I don't really want to get into...
We may as well go to Telos. You know what? It's late. I should probably go to bed. I'm gonna save here. Thank you for watching, and we'll pick this up back again on Monday. Until then.